All right, let's get into it. Did you know that deep inside you, right this very second, there's a tiny emergency crew on standby? They're ready to spring into action at a moment's notice. So today, we're going to meet this team, figure out what their mission is, and see what happens when they get, let's say, a little too excited about their job.
No, really, just think about that for a second. A team of tiny, dedicated first responders inside of you. The moment you get a paper cut, bam, the sirens go off and they race to the scene. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? Well, guess what? It's real, and it's happening inside you right now.
And this amazing team has a name. They're called Platelets. You can think of them as the heroes of our story. Their number one job is actually pretty simple, but it's absolutely critical. Whenever there's a breach, a cut, a scrape, any damage to a blood vessel, they are the first ones there to plug the hole, stop you from bleeding, and kick off the whole healing process. They're your body's own personal repair crew.
But here's where the plot thickens. What if this super efficient squad starts seeing emergencies everywhere, even when there aren't any? What happens when they get so good at their job that they start creating blockades where traffic should be flowing freely? Well, that's the moment our heroes can accidentally cause a whole lot of trouble.
And that brings us to the main problem we're talking about today. Think of it like a massive traffic jam happening inside your body's own highway system. That internal pileup has a medical name. It's called thrombosis. This is what happens when the platelet squad gets a little overzealous and starts forming clots inside the highway itself, not just at an off-ramp where there was an accident. This can slow down or even completely stop the flow of blood, and as you can probably guess, that is a really dangerous situation. So, if we want to understand how to manage this squad, we first have to get to know who they are. So let's get a proper introduction to our tiny emergency crew. So what exactly are these platelets? Well, for starters, they're not even complete cells. How wild is that? They're actually just tiny little fragments that are made in your bone marrow. They just float around in your blood, waiting for that call to action. They're your first responders, your healers, and your repair crew, all rolled into one. So the ultimate goal here is something called platelet homeostasis. Now that's a fancy term, but the idea is simple. We want a perfectly balanced squad, a team that's disciplined, totally ready for a real emergency, but also knows how to chill out and stand down the rest of the time. And any good team needs a great coach to keep them in line.
All right, let's meet our first potential coach, Anthocyanins, or ACNs for short. You can think of ACNs as a specialized trainer who's got a whole playbook of new tactics to help keep our platelet squad in that perfect state of balance.
And here's their game plan. First up, ACNs can make the squad's gloves less sticky. These gloves are what help platelets clump together, so making them less sticky helps prevent unnecessary pileups. Second, they can turn down the volume on the alarm siren that screams for every platelet to rush to the scene. This helps prevent a massive overreaction. Third, they help balance the team roster itself, making sure you have just the right number of players on the field. And finally, they help boost your body's own natural protective shields to keep the whole system running smoothly.
But you know what? ACNs aren't the only coach we can call on. Let's bring in another well-known trainer for our squad, omega-3 fatty acids.
Now, the omega-3 coaching strategy is all about the kind of fuel the squad is using. See, your body has two competing fuel sources for this system, omega-6 and omega-3. The fuel from omega-6 leads to that super fast, super aggressive alarm we were just talking about. But the fuel from omega-3 produces a much calmer, more controlled response signal. So, by changing the fuel mix, you can literally shift the squad's entire reaction from hyper-aggressive to calm and collected.
And the omega-3 playbook has a couple of other key moves. It helps calm down the individual members of the squad, making them less likely to get all riled up in the first place. Plus, it actually helps make the highway itself, the walls of your blood vessels, a bit slicker, which makes it much harder for a traffic jam to even get started.
Okay, so we've learned about these amazing coaches and their playbooks. But now it's time for what is easily the most important part of this whole explainer, the official rules of the game. This is so important to understand. The science is really cool, for sure. But these are not FDA-approved medical treatments. This is all about understanding how certain things can support your body's natural systems, not about replacing actual medical advice or treatments.
So here's the bottom line, the number one takeaway. While we can think of things like ACNs and omega-3s as helpful assistant coaches, your doctor is always the head coach. Before you even think about making any big changes to your diet or taking new supplements, you have to talk to a healthcare professional. They're the ones who know your personal health situation and can help you make the safest, most effective calls for you. And that's where we'll leave it. It really makes you think, though, doesn't it?
The Platelet Squad is just one of these countless, incredible systems working away inside of you 24/7. So what other hidden squads and secret coaching systems are working behind the scenes right now just to keep you going? Kind of makes you wonder.